What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's time for episode 24 of Guardians Franchise. We are here on the cusp of spring training, a little bit further than I said we might be. I think I said we'll be around the Rule 5 draft. I just kind of got through everything, and I've got a lot to explain, so I'll take you through the thought process as to why we are so far, as opposed to kind of coming back in the middle and maybe getting some thoughts from the community. You'll see. So first things first, I'm going to start present just because this is hilarious and it's the first time I've seen it. Hayden Boggs files for bankruptcy because his restaurant chain lost $5.5 million last year. He has $2 million in Rolex watches, and he's quoted as saying, "What can I tell you? Those timepieces are the epitome of class. I can't say anything about my financial situation. Go through my lawyer." That is so funny. God, that is so good. I had not seen that in any sims that I've done or previous. I don't know if that's new to this year or if that was around last year and I just missed it. Amazing touch. Little touches like that are fantastic. I've talked about the one time that it didn't happen to me, but it was in my sim that Vlad Jr. retired to go play basketball. Hilarious. Would it suck if that happened to, a Vlad Jr. type on our team where it was a key player? Of course. But would it add amazing flavor to that sim? You better freaking believe it. So let's cycle all the way back to arbitration, which of course was in early November. We did not offer Tyler Freeman nor David Fry because while they weren't making a lot, I just didn't really see where they fit in. So I decided to pair the two and trade them. And I'm going to show you guys, of course, what we got. I thought this might actually happen. Tyler Freeman is no longer on the team. Let's see if his trade partner, David Fry, is. Yes, he's still in Philly. Okay, so they kept one, cut one. So here's Fry, and he's a good little player, right? Like there is some value, and on a different team, a different setup, I can find some value out of him being able to play the four corners plus catcher. None of the positions particularly well except for first base, but there's some flexibility. He's got a little bit of leadership to him, an okay bat. Like there are things, but it's just not a fit for us anymore. And so I was able to divorce my interest in him as a player in real life from our sim because he's no longer at a level where he can really help us. So I paired him and Freeman. Again, they didn't want Freeman. That's fine. Never strikes out, but just doesn't really do much when he puts it in play. The positives on him are more the base running, defense, and personality as a spark plug leader. So there are some factors there, and at 27, you could maybe see a tinge of growth, but where would it come from? Ooh, look at this, y'all. Look at this happening. This just happened. I couldn't get her to stay in there to save my life early on. I put her in there 3 times before I started recording because I was doing different things, kind of getting everything ready, and she kept leaving to go right here where this blanket is, but there she is. Sweet. So we got Sharpen working. Now the episode officially begins. But yeah, so they didn't keep Freeman. He wasn't expensive, but the same reason we didn't keep him, right? How good is he? That said, that's not all they got. They did get a former prospect of ours, Mauricio Andretti. I almost said Mauricio Andretti. So I was doubly wrong there. Mauricio Andretti, a international signing that we had that we always knew could be trade bait because he had crazy power but a ton of swing and miss. And he took a real dump in June with his scouting update there, losing 15 potential eye, 5 potential gap, 10 potential power. You expect some of these drops, right? We always talk about how these international guys, they take forever and they have ebbs and flows, and he may bounce back up, but that is a big hit for a guy that I was already very keen on kind of getting as a trade development, which sometimes you do that, right? You draft a guy, you pick up a guy with the idea that he's going to be trade bait in some fashions. Now, sometimes they play their way out of that for the positive or the negative. For the positive, meaning you want to keep them because they're just too good, or for the negative, where they're not good enough to trade. Aldretti still had some juice here. We traded him with those two non-tenders for Andrew Painter. Just solid, right? He's not amazing, but he's green everywhere and kind of reminds me of some of our guys like Tanner Bybee and Logan Allen, right? He's in that realm where it's you can see how it works, but it's not outwardly excellent right now. He is coming off a decent season. It was only 51 innings with the Major League club, 25, actually 31. Oh my God, wait, what the hell? Did he come off injury? He had Tommy John in 24, and then a strained triceps for 3 to 4 weeks this past season. Why was he down at high A for 60 innings? Like, I understand the old rehabs where they kind of tour the entire minor league, and that's pretty cool. That gives those players a chance to, like, meet a veteran player, pick their brain, maybe get a couple meals bought, things like that. Sure. But 11 starts in high A? What is that serving him? I just noticed that. I didn't see that when we got him. Very weird. But anyway, part of our mix. I like the extreme ground ball aspect. Still just 23 years old, y'all. About to be 24, but, like, I was actually kind of surprised that he was still this young. This is a pitcher in real life that is currently dealing with some injuries and trying to get himself on track. But as you can see, you know, only 21 in real life right now. So still very young, but he came with a partner, and he came with somebody that I had mentioned in the previous episode, Wenhui Pan. I'm actually not entirely sure on this. Again, I mentioned that last time. Wen seems straightforward. Hui though. Hugh? I'm not entirely sure. Wenhui Pan is what I'm going with right now. Please, as always, correct me if necessary. But a live-armed pitcher. 70 stuff, 55 home run and BABIP, 40 control. That 40 control really does keep him out of the rotation right now. He needs to improve there. More on that later, perhaps. But the 55 stamina says that he can be a real starter if it comes together. I mean, he could be a real starter right now. You would just deal with like a 10-12% walk rate as a starter, which is always dangerous. But he's 24 years old, so we picked up 2 young arms. And remember, we came into the offseason with pitching being our biggest need. And I really was looking for more top of the scale pitching. Not necessarily in this deal, right? This was a consolidation deal, taking some talent that we had and kind of shuffling it into something that works better for us. And we don't need 2 guys on the 42 hitters that we're just not that interested in when we can get 2 pitchers that we are. So I felt good about this, getting Pan and Painter. We tried to buy out some of Rocchio's ARB, plus some free agent years. He wasn't terribly interested in it. Oh, and then I put, with regards to that trade, I put on my little list here, so Mauricio Aldrete looking busty and not in a good way. Yeah, because he looks like he could be a stone cold bust, right? Like 30 avoid K as his ceiling right now. Yo, that's Chris Carter. That's like the downside Joey Gallo, Miguel Sano type. You know, they each had heights that they reached that was really interesting, but with 30 avoid K, you're getting the worst of what those guys offered as a ceiling right now. So, looking busty indeed. DevLab. So, we made this trade, I think, the day that the DevLab was set. So nothing had happened. So I ended up making a change. And we went 7 hitters, 3 pitchers, where last minute we took out Chase DeLauder. Y'all, I finally gave up on him a bit. He did not get that power training. Now, there is a world where he can still develop there and become something that we like, but I did not utilize the 4 or 5 month window there to try to get him that extra power this time. I took him out, I put Pan in, and let me show you everyone that we've gone with here. We went Lonnie White Jr. with a 2-strike approach. Wait. Let's just do this. If it's all giving the results in a day, let's just sim. Let's just make this easy. 1 day ahead here, and we'll see what's what. That's convenient. All right, so Lonnie White Jr.'s 2-strike approach results were outstanding. Potential and current avoid K both improved by 5. That is fantastic, especially with the news I'm about to give y'all. Not only did that happen, but we signed Lonnie White Jr. to an extension, y'all. 8 years, $69 million. I am but a child. $2 million this year. Next year, actually. After making league min this year. So $2 million next year, 4.6, 8, 10.4, and then 11 for 4 years, the last of which is a player option. And he'll be age 32, right? So, you know, if he's not doing well, he might just take that to say, let me get 11 more million while I'm on my last legs. ideally he is like in a plateau phase or maybe like a soft descent, and we don't feel bad about him picking up 11 mil. And then obviously the best case would be that he's so good that he doesn't pick that up because he's like, I can go out and get a fat deal. And then we say, okay, well, we got the best of that offer. So, you know, it's that classic deal where you offer a young guy life-changing money, $69 million, meme or otherwise, is still life-changing money. And, you know, he has a chance to still get like a real deal. Like if he's awesome, then he would be entering the market at age 32. You can still get like a good 3-4 year deal and, you know, push your total earnings over 100 million there. So it kind of depends on where he's at, but, you know, definitely a chance for us to do really well on this deal. And I think it's just that we struck early, and frankly, his profile wasn't nearly as good until we add these avoid Ks here. Like that really takes him up a level. So we struck at the right time. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more expensive if we do it now that he's got the boosted avoid K. Great defender, real power, and now, like, you know, inching closer there on the avoid Ks. If we could ever get that to 50, I mean, that's game changing. But let's not get greedy. We just got the big win. We have the signed contract. Lonnie White Jr., a centerpiece of this team going forward. Sukyoung Namgung, successful on plate discipline. Current I rating improves by under 5. So, you know, it's less than 5, so it could be, you know, it's 1 to 4 kind of vibe, but it improved. So it's getting better. It doesn't raise a full grade. It is funny here that it says the potential I does drop from 50 to 45. Kind of annoying, even though he just had a positive training session with it. So now that's it though. Like, okay, we got you up here, and now that is your cap. Well, that's kind of annoying, but very good player here. I love the 80 gap, 80 avoid K, like that combo. I'm not the biggest avoid K guy, like get everyone who doesn't strike out, but it's undeniably a positive factor. I like when players don't strike out, and when they're ripping doubles and triples all over the place because they also have great speed. That's an added bonus. Oh, throw in great defense, high work ethic, high adaptability too. We got ourselves a player here, y'all. Charlie Condon's gap power successful. Current gap improves by 5. Let's go, baby. Things are going well with the #1 overall pick coming off a 4-win campaign. Right at the cusp of 30, 100, 100. Throw in the 310 average with it. Like, an excellent season, however you put it, but we love those round numbers. So just inching closer to getting that 30, 100, 100 there on the homers, runs, and ribbies. But we're not upset about anything Condon's been doing thus far. Royce Lewis, no improvement on his plate discipline. That's kind of a bummer. That could really help, and he's still got the potential. But I was really hoping for that to come through. I got to admit, I'm kind of bummed by that one. But still a captain, you know, still a quality player. We need more out of him, though. We've discussed this at length. We don't need to get into it again. Heston Kjerstad, 2-strike approach, successful. Current avoid K improves by 5. Just green everywhere. Just a firm green profile on the hit with some teal and green on the defense. Again, plays an amazing corner with the capability of playing center if we need him to here and there. Now, coming off a lesser season, 2.5 WAR. He was at 3 WAR last year, and you know we round up, so they're both 3-win seasons, but one's on the lower end of it, and one's, you know, kind of in the middle there. And if it was, you know, 3.3, 3.4 WAR, we would say a 3-win season, and probably call it the higher end of it. So he wasn't really much different. 2 quality seasons of about, you know, the same guy. That's a good foundation, right? Like, he is still in a situation where his range of outcomes is very much, the high end of his range of outcomes is very much like a 5-6 win player, right? Like that's not even that out of pocket or anything. And that's, you know, that's all-star plus caliber type vibes at that point. Using the Baseball Reference has just a mini guide there for those that maybe don't view WAR very often to kind of give them an idea. And so anything under 0 is sub replacement level, like you're worse than a minor leaguer theoretically. 0 to 2 WAR is, you know, a good substitute, the 20th to 26th guy on the roster type of vibe. 2+ is a nice starting player, and then there's like a range there, because then it gets to 5+ is an all-star and 8+ is an MVP. And that's WAR in a given year according to Baseball Reference. So at 3, he's like a good starter. If he can push to that 4-5 range, then we're talking next level. Gabriel Arias could not improve his plate discipline, which is a bummer. That said, did he get some bumps? He did. Okay, hey, wait a minute. Yes, the fuck he did. You liars. Plate discipline program concluded no improvement. Okay, and then the whole spiel about, hey, no noticeable changes. Then we go over here, and I'm seeing all green, which I know he wasn't. And what do I see here? Current I rating, 45 to 50. Current gap, 45 to 50. I'm going to trust the scouting report right here more than the email and say that it was a success with Arias, and now look at him. I was already feeling him as like a quality bench player because of his great glove, and even though he doesn't hit for really anything, like let's just call it what it is dog shit hitting. Even with that, as a substitute guy that just kind of fills in here and there, I still don't mind having him on the ball club. But now, green down the line on his hitting, this might be a little something here. This is one of those guys that if he's delivering like a 90 or better WRC plus, that is a victory for us, because we know that pretty much anywhere we put him on the field is going to be plus defense. So I love that for Arias. Logan Allen, attempt to improve control, poor, it drops. Yikes, dude. Oh, that really sucks. Well, that's just going to move him down the pecking order a little bit, plain as I can say it. 45 home run allowance, that's just tough. In fact, I eschewed several free agents who had better categories everywhere else, but still had 45, like better categories than Logan Allen here, right? They would have some blue, like 60 stuff, 60 control, 55 BABIP, and then 45 home run. And I'm like, that home run really scares me. So like I was passing up on guys that were as good as Allen and a little bit better. And so now this is definitely bullpen. I mean, it was already angling toward that, but like I said, he moves down the list a little bit with that one. That stings. Tanner Bybee's control, though, is outstanding. Potential control improves by 5. Current control improves by under 5. So he's at 55 now. He's green down the line, and so he'll move up, right? He and Allen are kind of like this coming into this training, and then boom, that's kind of how it goes. So, and this was with low work ethic. I was a little bit nervous about Bybee. Okay, is he going to be able to figure it out? He does. Let's go, baby. And then Mason Hour, bat speed program concluded. Outstanding. Potential power goes up by 5. Current power goes up by less than 5. So it's only a 45, right? It's not special. First off, where did the potential go then? You said the power went up, or you said the potential went up. Where the hell is it? But either way. So he's kind of, Mason Hour right now is like Arias light. He's got a little yellow in the profile still, but can definitely be a quality bench guy with the good outfield defense and the speed component that can maybe hit a little bit, especially against lefties. And then maybe we get him in the lab one more time next year, try to push once more and see if he can become more of a starter. And then Pon, damn, his chance to improve his control goes poorly. Current control and movement both drop by less than 5. Bit of a bummer, but he's still green in both, he's green in both movement components, but he has 40 control, which sucks. That is V-bad. And it just makes him a reliever, though, right? It's not the end of the world. He already had yellow. He was 45 before that, so it's fine. OSA likes his stuff even more. So he's a stopper type, right? It's still very good. I'm glad to have him. And if things don't work out and he's walking too many, he gets sent out. He still has an option. So all in all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus who was the guy that they said didn't get better but actually did? Arias. So that's 8. Wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 that they acknowledge got better, plus the 7th with Arias, and then 3 that didn't, which was Pon, Allen, and Lewis. So 7 wins, 1 nooch, and 2 losses. We're calling that a fat overall dub, y'all. That is fantastic. Okay, great. So let's continue around the offseason here. I didn't realize that that was only a day away from getting those results. So instead of telling you who I put in there, let's just give you the results. All right, we did get some new personnel. Not a ton, so it's an easy sweep here. Got a new bench coach, Shelby Johnson. Outstanding with the development. The relationships are strong. He has a good rating there. Emmanuel Clase is the only one who's under average. And there's 6 other pitchers that are in the average, and then everybody else is good or excellent. So the vast majority of the team gets along well with Shelby Johnson, and nobody has like a terrible relationship with him. And then third base coach, Matthew Rabe, also coming in. You can see brings a bunch of great coaching aspects to the team, outstanding development, and strong relationships. And of his ones that are like average and lower, 7 of the 9 are pitchers rather, which is just not going to affect a third base coach. So Brian Rocchio and Royce Lewis, they might not vibe with him that much. Big deal. Not going to change much. You look at the staff roles, we've got Rabe catching and infield. We got Mesa at outfield and running. You look at our cohesion, team's happy. That's good. There is some negatives here with the new trainer. So I think I might have shown this on the last episode. I don't remember. There were no other trainers. Even once the offseason started. Remember, we checked on replacing our trainer late in the season. It was like September or something. And, you never know what kind of personnel you're going to see at that point. Sometimes there's a gem that's still out there, but a lot of times it's kind of picked over. We found a few guys. And, I pointed out, hey, what do y'all think about this? If not, we can just look in the offseason and see what's what. I ended up waiting. Come to the offseason, the list got no bigger. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say there were no new guys. To mean like, oh, there was nobody else that hit my thresholds. There were no new guys, which was really surprising to me. So I don't know what it was, but either way, Nick Kenny was still there. This was a guy that we were looking at. If we were going to pick up any of those guys in September when we were looking, Kenny was the one that I liked the most. And there was at least one commenter who said, if I was going to get anybody, it'd be Kenny. So we're on the same page there. Outstanding at preventing leg injuries, legendary at recovering back injuries, or rehabbing them, I should say. But then where do you go first? When it comes to trainer, first things I go to are the arm. Good at rehabbing and excellent at preventing arm injuries. Fantastic. He has everything green or better. And the only 2 that are green are prevent back injuries and prevent other injuries that are average. Then you get into the teal, which is the good and the excellent, all the way up to the blue. So Nick Kenny looks wonderful, but the only downside here is that he's 65. And, once they get into their 60s, they can retire at any moment. There's no like, oh, they're going to go till this age or whatever. It can just be done. So we'll see if he makes through the 3-year deal. That's why I didn't go too far with it. Although it's not like we'd be on the hook for the money if he retired early. I'm kind of preparing that like he'll eventually probably leave us due to age. It'll be retirement more than it will be leaving the team. Oh, and then we got a new ACL manager. Actually, like we promoted somebody. I think we promoted Jan Rivera. Yeah, he was the ACL manager. So technically the Carolina League Lynchburg Hillcats spot open, but I promoted Rivera and then I brought in Keith Finnerty, who looks great. Outstanding at development, good at mechanics, and legendary at aging, although the aging piece isn't as important down in the low minors especially. Like, what are you going to do? Get the most out of a 21-year-old who, getting long in the tooth over there? And then let's see here for ACL, decent relationships. I don't get as hung up. Ideally, I want them to have a good relationship, but because there's so much turnover, especially in those low minors, I will be less concerned if the actual skills are there. Awards review. Let's look at some awards, y'all. These are very old at this point in the game time, but obviously I'm not going to leave y'all hanging on that. We had some. I will point that out. Let's start with, what did we have? Oh, we had our man. Some of y'all know what to expect here, but let's start with the MVPs. Jackson Holiday. God, look at this profile, y'all. This is literally one of the best profiles I've ever seen. Remember in OOTP 23 when we were calling Fernando Tatis Jr. the sim demon, because he was just putting up the sickest seasons every year. And then across every sim I did, each new sim, he was basically getting stronger, it seemed. I'm not even sure his profile got this good. Like, this is disgusting. Holiday is going to be a pro. Look at all this hardware already. Dude is 5 years old, just had his 5th birthday, and they are cluttering. Like, there's just so much stuff there that they're just stacking it on top of each other. What a stud. So he gets the MVP. And then Brian Wu gets Cy Young. Excellent season for him. Look at that. Led the league in innings, ERA, and WHIP. I mean, that's just, you're locking it in right there. Right? ERA is not the end-all be-all. In fact, it can be very flawed. But when you lead the league in innings, ERA, and WHIP, you don't need any advanced stats. That does actually tell you all you need to know, in my opinion. I just don't think that I need to know the FIP at that point, or even the strikeout minus walk rate, which I love, 19% by the way. I think once you tell me those 3 things, okay, he wins. And he did indeed. Rookie of the Year. There it is. Our boy Charlie. Charlie Condon gets Rookie of the Year and a Silver Slugger thrown in, just to spoil that ahead of time here. Those were our 2 awards. And that's what I was saying. Y'all probably were expecting Condon to get that. And he did, because he's awesome. And then Gregory Santos got Reliever of the Year. I was a little bummed that we didn't have anybody on Reliever of the Year, but then I kind of looked at everybody that was ahead, and I was like, okay, no, that's fair. Actually, let's go back to it real quick. That's actually going to be in the news. Go back to November. And Golden Glove. Reliever in the AL. Nobody in the top 6. Like, that is so rare. That is so rare for us. Any sim I'm doing, I'm not just talking about this Cleveland sim. Because, and I'm sorry to repeat, but just in case anybody knew, because I'm always getting high volume out of at least a couple relievers a year. And usually with good numbers. So you're getting these guys with 90 to 100 innings, putting up great numbers. We almost always have someone in the mix. Well, not this year. But like I said, I looked at all of it and I was like, that actually checks out. Santos wins with a 172 ERA, 115 WHIP. Can't argue that. That's fantastic. This one stung though, y'all. Gavin Williams finishes 2nd. Remember, they didn't get much out of him the first 2 years, but they kept him in the bullpen permanently this year. Well, he had 1 start, but you know, he was a reliever. 109 innings, which you know I tipped the cap to. 66 appearances, 306 ERA, 122 WHIP. They found their role with Gavin, and Manzo was already cooking, so they're starting to pull away in that deal a little bit. It is still our worst deal in the manager's office here. If you go to the decision history, worst trade, we lost 5 WAR. I still don't regret it, right? And I'm not going to relitigate it every time. It was a give to get. I thought the positions that we were giving made sense for what we were getting. I wasn't sure that Manzo was going to be this good, and we had Josh Naylor. I also wasn't 100% certain how I felt about whether or not we were going to keep Josh Naylor around. And, you know, I guess if I know for a fact, like, hey, we're not going to re-sign Josh Naylor, maybe I am a little bit more cautious on this deal, but I don't think so. Because in my mind, even when I'm doing this deal, I'm thinking the worst case on Kjerstad is that he could be our first baseman. But he has actually turned out to be a great defender. So I'm not worried. I'm relitigating it when I said I'm not going to. And after a while, I just sound defensive. No, it's a good trade. Shut up. But anyway, then Andres Munoz, Gregory Santos' teammate, 307 ERA, 114 WHIP in 70 innings. Okay, pretty good. Craig Kimbrell for my Tigers, 234 ERA, 101 WHIP in 77 innings in 51 appearances. At a baby Tigers, running a 37-year-old Kimbrell into the ground. Respect. Nothing against Kimbrell, a 38-year-old. That was his age 38 season. Just saying that I appreciate them getting volume. St. Louis even more so. 96 innings out of Kimbrell and 65 plate appearances. Although he wasn't pitching well, at least the Tigers got an excellent performance. And then the Griffin Jacks Yohan Duran duo in Minnesota, they were both fantastic. In fact, Jacks had a case to be higher. 244 ERA, 108 WHIP. He could have been higher on this group. So we didn't get anybody. I'm not going to look in this. I was going to look in the stats and say who would have been our best candidate. The bottom line is it's rare for us not to have anybody, but we didn't. I'll give you the NL awards too. I know some people like all the awards, not just the ones for the league that we're in. I'm one of those people too when I'm watching other sims, so I'm going to treat it how I would think others would want it. Jackson Chorio wins the MVP, his first. Oh, just your casual 9-win season, and I gushed over how great Holiday's profile looks. This one's quite amazing as well. It's the only thing that like pulls a little away from it, a very, very little, is that the walk rate, the eye is not like crazy. It's only 50. I can overlook that when everything else is stand out. Oh, and he's turning 23 in like 6 days. He's going to be a force, Jackson Chorio. Tyler Glasnow gets his Cy Young. Back-to-back Cy Youngs for the Dodgers with Buehler and Glasnow. 2.49 ERA, 0.93 WHIP, led the league in ERA and WHIP. Not innings, but that's okay. You get ERA and WHIP for 209 innings. Again, I probably don't need the secondary stats to tell you that I'm pretty good on that, right? And I've explained this before too, but like, I'm not as concerned about the FIP versus ERA, like a guy that might have like a 240 FIP, but a 360 ERA from an award standpoint. If I'm trying to predict who's going to have the better year the following year for fantasy or whatever, well, then I care about that because those things are more predictive. But if I'm just voting on an award, I don't really care that he was quote unquote luckier or whatever. Like that's the season, and we're giving an award for the season, not what should have happened. So anyway, sorry about that. I don't need to rant on that every time I bring up an MVP, or I mean a Cy Young rather. David Alderetti. I think I was calling him Aldretti because I just assumed that was what it was. But this extra E in here, that's like Alderetti, aka Baby Bull. But anyway, he was, he's one of those interesting rookies in that he's 31 years old, coming over from Cuba, but that still counts. I'm not here to diminish that. I sign the international guys a ton in these sims, and I'm happy when they win the Rookie of the Year. So no shade, but this is more of a Jose Abreu type victory with his 65 power and 60 eye, translating to a 133 WRC plus with 40 bombs. Hell of a season there for the Mets for Alderetti. They've still got him for a while. That was the tough part for me. Was I liked the power and I was interested, but then when he was standing firm on 6 years, when he's coming over at age 31, I'm like, yeah, no, thank you, buddy. And then Devin Williams won his third reliever of the year because he's a god. Back-to-back seasons with sub 190 ERAs, 180 and then 185. Just disgusting. Was a free agent, signed back with Milwaukee. I'll get into some more free agent stuff in a bit, but looked at him a little bit. But again, I'll get to all the free agent stuff after this. First things first. We ended up making some deals around awards time here because I just have everything listed in order that I did it. So let's get to these deals before we go to the Rule 5. So again, I was looking at some talent that I thought we had, and I was starting to get some offers. And one of the guys that kept getting pulled up in offers was Jhonkensy Noel, who has come up in the majors, and he's got like a Franmil Reyes build. Like that's just the easiest, best comp that I can think of right off the top of my head. And we've seen Franmil do some good things, right? Like there is skill in that profile. It's very all or nothing, but this is a 22-year-old in real life right now with Noel. 4 homers in 14 games. Like he could be a little boost for Cleveland. Well, in our universe, he's age 25. He does have some pop, but it's not game-changing pop. It's like, it's good. But I think at the major league level right now, he's probably like a 20s home run hitter, not some 30 plus, and I just didn't really see a fit. So we paired him with another gentleman and moved him over to the White Sox because they had come and knocking, and we got 2 guys from them, and one of them was in the offer for Noel. So I took the piece of Noel and the guy I liked, brought those 2 to the forefront, worked around that, and here's the deal I came up with. I gave him Jhonkensy Noel and Clayton Arma, who was kind of more than a throw-in. Like this isn't nothing, but when I saw that he was one of the ones that they would take, it was throw-in to me because I'm not going to really miss this profile. And the only reason I say that is like Home runs look like they're going to be an issue, and he has a low work ethic. So those are two factors there that I'm like, okay, you want him to get the deal done? I can do that. What did we get for those two? We got Brooks Baldwin, who is just like steady, just flat, right? 50s all over the page for his offense, like literally 50s down the line. And then a utility fielder who isn't very good at most of the spots, probably better in your four corners, first, third, left, right. Can play up the middle, but definitely challenged. And then a little bit of speed in the profile. So, just a nice little fill-in. He's 26 years old. He's not uber special or anything. Nice piece, though. Still has 3 option years left. And I like that. Even at 26, this is one of those guys that can kind of be a 27th man who's up and down a little bit unless a long-term injury maybe makes him stick. So I liked him. And then the other guy was the guy that they included in the original offer, Stanley Consuegra. And I will say his profile went down a little bit from when we got him. And listen, I just took the shot on making the trade. I didn't want to wait for the scouting report to come in and then possibly miss on getting him. Unfortunately, once that report came in, he's a little less appealing than we thought. Also 26 years old, and let me show you the scouting here. As you can see, current and potential power dropped from 60 to 55. And that 60 power, I know it's only 5 points, but when I saw the 60-60 on the gap and home run, like that jumped out to me. And then the 70 arm, right? So there were 2 standout categories, because I'll put the 2 powers together, gap and the home run power. That's just power to me. So the power profile and the huge arm, and I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And I really liked the 50 BABIP to go with the slugger type profile. Now again, 60 gap, 55 home run, that's still good. It's just not quite as good, and he is more of a short side platoon guy now because he still has the 60 home run against lefties. Look at Char. If I didn't know any better, I would say she's sticking her head out like that to get off the camera. I don't actually believe that, but you just never know with Char. She's a little dweeb like that. So anyway, I like that deal, right? Like, neither of those guys, Noel nor Arma, are really going to factor into our plans. And Baldwin and Consuegra, I think, are nice depth, right? They have enough to maybe still improve a bit, while who they are as is has some potential to do some damage, depending on what sort of situation we put them into and stuff like that. So the first 2 MLB samples for Consuegra have gone terribly, right? There's no 2 ways around it. He'll probably start in the minors for us, but we'll see what's what. I think I have him on the Major League roster right now just because I know he's going to get called up for spring, so I'm not worried about paring this down. In fact, they added those guys to the minors just recently. I might have actually had Consuegra down recently just to kind of look at what I think the team's going to be, but they've added all the guys now that we're here at the beginning of spring. So I did that deal. As we approached the 40-man, as we approached the Rule 5, we were tight on the 40-man. We were full. And I was like, oh, we need to figure something out for that, because I always want to have a spot open just in case. So that led to another deal where I ended up pairing a couple of guys just to get somebody. This one's not, massive. In fact, I think these deals have gone down in importance. I think the Painter Hahn trade is pretty impactful with those 2 arms. Baldwin Consuegra is medium impact to low, and then this one is just getting a deal done for 40-man roster spots. So we traded Johnny DeLuca with Dion Frias over to the Braves. Here's Frias, right? And we have another, Jose Tena is basically a carbon copy of this. And we've got guys up the middle. We've got infielder types. Brooks Baldwin is not that different, if we're really getting to the nitty gritty of it. Let's go look at him real quick. Right? He's got 15 more power, and then he gives 5 on the I and avoid K with a better speed profile. And then let's look at the defense difference. The exact same defense. Not quite the exact same, a little bit different, but you get my point, right? He's a little bit older, Baldwin is, 2 years to Frias is 24, but we had to give something here. Basically, DeLuca was who I wanted to get rid of, and I was hoping to just get a minor leaguer, but they wouldn't no one was offering anything. When I brought in Frias, there was a handful of players that were offered, but only one that was actually a minor leaguer that wouldn't just take another 40-man spot. Because at that point, it's like, I don't want to do it. I'm trying to, at that point, if I'm going to trade both these guys, I need both of the 40-man spots open. So all we were really offered was David McCabe. If you're not watching, if you're just second screening, I'm just shrugging. There's nothing special here. It was a minor leaguer that they were offering for the two players that I was ready to trade. So that's it. Okay, so then the Rule 5 came, and like I said, I wanted to have something open just in case. Turned out we passed. We did end up getting a couple guys taken from us, and I will show you who they are. Tyler Thornton was one of them by the White Sox. So after we did that trade with them, they're like, let's get some more talent from that team. Is this the guy? No, different guy. Okay. Oh, Trent Thornton is who I was thinking. I was like, is this the guy from the Jays? No. Different guy. So Tyler Thornton, I mean, listen, crazy stuff. I knew when I left him open that there was a chance that he would get taken. I also think there's a strong chance that he has returned. He has a 30 control, y'all. So if they make him work, cool. I'm not holding my breath on it. We also lost Xavier Curry, which, you know, he's a current legitimate Guardian these days, and cool, you know, good luck. Gave us 9 2/3 of okay ball last year. Nothing to write home about. You know, not a loss there. I get why a team would take him, especially a second division team. Not something that we were going to freak out over, and could also get returned very easily. I don't think there were any other picks that were like super notable. Can I find the Rule 5 anymore? I guess not. Oh, last Rule 5 draft log. There we go. Kobe Allard. Oh, there was actually some decent players. Okay, including Allard. Not a bad pick there by Oakland. But then this Leonardo Balcazar is kind of intriguing, right? Because nice defense up the middle and a little something of a bat. And at 22, I was trying to figure out like why Cincinnati didn't keep him. I did look at their 40. It made some sense. It wasn't totally egregious that they let him go, but I was like, dang, what are y'all doing? You should try to finagle some. And I wasn't going to try to make trades for them to get him. Sometimes if a team has like a top 100 prospect available and I can cut like some 38-year-old 30 grade guy that they have on their 40 to put that guy back on, I will do it. This was not one of those cases. This is more of a fringe case where, you know, the Reds might not see him as good as the rest of the league does, or simply they just couldn't fit him and they lost some talent. And let's not act like jumping from AA, he's automatically going to click. There's still a world where he gets returned because the bat just doesn't make the grade. David Peterson, Luis Urias, Alan Castro, Matt Sauer, no. I think that was kind of it, just a few guys up top. Oh, Chase Lee was somebody I was looking at, but he didn't end up making it to us. Not sure we really need him anyway. A reliever that, you know, is stuck on our roster via the Rule 5 is kind of a tough fit right now as we start to get the guys that don't really have options, and he's got a heavy platoon split. Now, in a sim last year, Chase Lee became one of the premier relievers in the entire game for us. Like, he was an absolute god, and even though he still had the big platoon split, he was like supercharged best in the world Mariano Rivera against righties, and then like good version of Mariano Rivera against lefties. Like, it didn't matter even with the big split. But he wasn't quite that good in this world, and like I said, we didn't really get a chance at him. But yeah, decent number of picks. As you can see here, the Angels ended up taking 5 picks, so they kind of remade their team. But nobody else really jumped out that I can remember. Will Warren, decent prospect in real life. Connor Brogdon, yeah, kind of a live arm. Nice pitching picks by Oakland. We'll see if they can do anything with it. So that's the Rule 5. Shortly after that was when I signed the Lonnie White Jr. extension. Now free agency. Free agency was tough, y'all. I had intentions of spending our money. As you can see here, though, we still have 16 mil at the start of spring training. And that's with pumping up the development budget up to 36 mil, the scouting budget up to 27, the draft budget up to 15. Thankfully, our owner didn't take the money away when he saw that we hadn't spent it. I wanted to, y'all. But I wanted to spend it on our terms. And if we couldn't get any of these pitchers for what we wanted, then I wasn't going to force it. So let me take you through some of the trials and tribulations of free agency. There were 6 starters that rated 60 or better. So, we're always looking for like green or blue players, like higher rated players. 6 of 60 plus for starters is pretty damn good. There were 3 relievers who were 60 plus rated and 2 bats. Well, this really added up for us because pitching was what we needed. If we could really make an impact, pitching was what we could make the impact in, especially with a high-end player. So we started looking into it. And simply put, they weren't having my bull crap. They just weren't. Y'all, I was trying to come up with funky deals. Fair but funky. Let me be clear. I wasn't offering them garbage. I was trying to get to the AAV they wanted, but in a manipulative way that makes it a little bit better for us, right? I'm not going to lie about that. And, I'm trying to structure the deal to where they get paid this year and maybe the following year, but then things really come down and we get some protection at the end with options, vesting, team, however we can do it. I even had some situations where I'm trying to like reward them for very low innings targets, like 100 innings gets you $2 million as a way to kind of keep our front end costs down in case we want to go get multiple players while still giving the player a bunch of money. So I tried a bunch of different machinations. And like I said, none of my bullshit worked, y'all. They weren't having it. Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff both cut me off. After back and forths, they said no dice. So Burnsy ended up going to Miami, which, okay, Miami, I see you spending some bread. I respect it. But also, why'd you do that? I wanted him. Like I said, he wasn't interested. Look at how good he is. Here's what he ended up getting. 5 years, 124 mil. I didn't want to do 5 years on a 32-year-old. I stand firm on that. I stand as though that was the right move. And this is going to be a common refrain. Guys that wouldn't budge on doing something that wasn't 4 or 5 plus years, and I didn't want to do it. So I held firm. B. Woody teased me, y'all. And again, this is our former player. We had him last year. So he ends up going, where did B. Woody go? To Washington. So both guys go out to the NL East. Okay, they're running away from us. So he goes to Washington. And like I said, we had him last year, and he has low financial ambition. So I thought if our bullshit was going to work anywhere, it was going to be with him. So he teased me. He opened negotiations back up. 1 offer. I gave him 1 other offer. It met his AAV, but had, my little quirks to it. And shut me down right again. Immediately closed the door. Didn't even give a counter. Just said, oh, you're still on your bullshit? Okay, bye. So it was 3 years at 24, 26, and then 28 vesting for 25 starts for that last one. Well, look what he ends up getting. 5 years at cheaper than I was giving the AAV, 23.4, but it's those extra years. Now, look at this. I wonder where they got the idea for a vesting option for 25 starts. Where did they get that idea? Wow, I'm just noticing this. I didn't see this when they signed him. That twists the knife a little bit. They took the vesting option idea that I had and gave it to him still. But look, y'all, they're on the hook for 4 years at 23 mil. I just didn't want to do that. Ages 34 to 37. He wasn't that good for us last year. I like him. He's good. He could have a bounce back season, but he'd have to bounce back from 2 down years. Actually, really 3, if you think about it, because I'm going to add to it. I'm going to say 4. He was good in 23, but only 11 starts. And then basically missed, because of that injury, basically missed all of 24 with only 3 starts. And then pretty mediocre in 25 and 26. So I don't regret that. I really, 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 really don't. I wanted to bring him back. 2 years guaranteed was the best I could do. And then try to give him a fair vesting that, like, the only way I would manipulate something like that is if he was just horrendous in the 3rd year or in the 2nd year. And just like pitching so terribly, we'd throw him into the bullpen and make sure the 3rd year doesn't vest. But other than that, I would let him get it. But he wasn't having it. Then there was Kevin Gausman. He goes to the White Sox. Also wasn't having our bullshit. What did he sign for? 3 years at 19.8 per. Okay, I think I was trying to get to. This isn't too bad, but 3 years for him, I was trying to do 2+1. I wanted to be in control of the 3rd. He got a team to commit to the 3rd, and even though it's a couple million cheaper than the first 2 years, this makes sense for him. So I totally get this from Gausman's standpoint. Why not get the guaranteed 3rd year instead of having to do something for it? So fair enough. But again, the bonus for 180 innings and the Cy Young bonus being this high, these are my ideas. It's annoying. They did not open negotiations with this. It's bullshit. All right, and then we lost out on a lot of guys, y'all. I got several more to talk about. Sandy Alcantara. Now, I wasn't as hot on him. I love Sandy in real life. Cannot wait till he gets healthy again. But I don't know. I want somebody a bit more dominant. So the 45 stuff with him, not my favorite, but I love the 65 control. So I was really interested. Not as interested in the 4-year deal, though. 15.4 million per. So yeah, Sandy, I didn't push as hard for. I didn't want to do 4 years. I was trying to do a 3+1. When I just to reiterate, when I say +1, that means the last year is an option year. So it's 4 years, but we have control over one of the years, and he didn't want to do it, and I get it. So Portland ends up signing him. Then there was Trevor Rogers. Again, I didn't go so hard after him. I wasn't as, he was more of like on the, okay, if everyone else doesn't work out, maybe I'll come look at him. But just to, because I also listed them here in the order that they signed. So then he comes off the board and I'm like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. This is a totally fair deal. But again, this was more like once all the aces go, then I might consider Rogers. I actually gave those to you out of order. Alcantara and Gausman signed after Rogers. So they were both still available. Once Rogers went, I didn't care because I still had my sights set on the more expensive guys. And then, I'm not doing a meme here, there was another one, Lance McCullers. Now this one, of the aces, right? He's part of the 6 guys that had 60 plus rating. He was the lowest priority because of the 45 control. There's just no two ways around it. Coming off an excellent year for Tampa Bay, but that's not super trustworthy with the control. So I didn't push super hard for him. So this one felt okay to lose. I've clicked the scouting every single time we've gone to look at one of these. And look, oh, wow. Oh, that's such a unique idea to do a 4th year vesting option at 25 starts. I wonder where you got that idea. I don't even know why I'm mad about it. It's just funny that they took all my tactics and used them against me. This is a fair deal. I don't mind this. They got their 3+1. I actually wasn't as keen on him though. And I originally thought, go for the top dogs that you're really, really interested, because I haven't covered one. There is one more. Oh yeah, 3 guys went to Boston, and one of them is our last ace here. But I was like, go for the big aces first, and then maybe come back to McCullers. And then by the time all the dust had settled, I was like, I don't know. I just don't know if I want to bet on a mid-30 something fragile with 45 control. So my heart really wasn't in McCullers. You can tell I did some offers because, again, that's how the vesting option got there. But it's all right. So that one didn't bother me as much. This one got me a little bit just because I really wanted this guy, and then they kept signing other pitchers that I liked. Not starters, but just everybody. Boston ends up signing Walker Buehler. Look at Walker Buehler here. Now, it's a control-based profile. It's not overly dominant with just 50 stuff, but he still struck out 25%. Like, that's perfectly fine. I can live with that all day. 65 control, 60 BABIP, fantastic. high work ethic, fan favorite. I was so interested here. I tried so much shit. Couldn't get off the 5 years. They just wouldn't do it. I tried to do a 3+2 and really push the 2 years. And I even put in big buyouts so that he was still getting paid. Because you guys know I like to do the buyout. And then I can pump that buyout year knowing I'm not going to do it. And it's a little scammy. I freely acknowledge that. But I was trying to counter that by saying, okay, if we don't sign you, I'm going to give you 10 mil. You know, if we don't pick up that option, I'm going to give you 10 mil to walk away. And I was giving him like crazy Cy Young bonuses, all-star bonuses, innings bonuses for 100 innings, y'all. I wasn't even asking him to do much. Now, they didn't do the 100 innings here. Boston didn't steal my entire flow. In fact, these Cy Young and All-Star, I was giving him $690,000 to make the All-Star team and $1.5 million if he won the Cy Young, along with 25 to 27 mil per year. It's just that I wouldn't go the length that Boston did. So again, it's all about years. I totally get this, but it was hard. I really wanted one of these guys. Maybe I should have done more, but I stand pretty strong on not committing these 4 or 5 year deals to these mid-30s pitchers, even if they are looking ace-like right now. So y'all let me know what you think on that. I feel like it was the right move not to. By the way, the other guys that Boston signed that I was like, okay, you don't have to get everybody that I'm interested in. A couple relievers, Kevin Ginkle-Biloba, decent, you know, nothing over the top, but I was like, okay. But then one I did want to bring back was Keegan Aiken, and they signed him. Oh, they're putting him in the rotation. Oh, okay. That's kitschy. I like that. But anyway, I was trying to bring Keegan back as a stopper type. And he signs with them for, God, I clicked this guy. Oof, 2.1. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying that hard clearly then. I think he was just on my list and I was maybe kind of flirting with him. Oh, promised role closer, and yet he's in the rotation. That's curious. I do remember that he did have that as promised role, and I changed it to nothing promised. So I wonder if that was the sticking point. Okay, fair enough if it is. Speaking of Aiken, we got another guy in the deal that we did with Gray and Aiken, and it was Jojo Romero, and he goes out to San Francisco. I was also at least talking with bringing him back, but he signed for 10.8 this year and 12.3 next year. Like, he got real money as a reliever. And I want to say, actually, let me look it up. Yeah, he signed early-ish. December 17th, all the aces were still available. And I'm not committing that kind of money to a reliever at that time, especially with only 30 stamina. So, thank you for your time with us. You were okay. Good luck with San Francisco, Jojo. All right, so what the hell did we do? Well, free agency we didn't do much, y'all. All I did was bring back Bieber. We did re-sign Bieber. He's healthy now. In fact, it actually just happened that his name is no longer red, but as expected, he is wrecked. That said, the scouting is still strong. 55-55 on the home run BABIP, 60 control, and 50 stuff. It's fine. How many innings can we get? I don't know. But we paid $8 million, and it's a 1-year deal. It simply cannot hurt us. So, all good there. And we do have 19 pitchers here that, we're going to sort through. Obviously, some of these guys are just here for spring training. But, we got at least 15, 16 of these guys that are really competing for spots. Then on the hitting side, we got 21 guys up, and I would say 17, 18 of them really competing for spots. So I feel good about where the squad is, even though we weren't able to really make that impactful move. I also went and looked at the trading block, nothing really doing there. But I also looked at upcoming free agents to see if there was anybody that we could try to go get to use some of this money. I'm trying to use the money, but I want to use it wisely. And if it does get taken away because we're not spending it, well, so be it. And I feel bad in a weird way because I have done so many sims where I can't scratch 2 nickels together because my team is so poor, and I would kill to have this kind of money to sign 3 relievers, not just 1 big piece. So I feel bad here where I'm trying to luxury shop and I can't even do it. And I got my OOTP friends out there, like Old School Sports and Foolish Baseball, trying to be the Oakland A's, and they would kill for this kind of money. To just have 18 mil or 16 mil sitting in the coffers, I feel irresponsible, But there's nothing to spend it on. So I think it'd be more irresponsible to spend it. Now, there was one thing that did come along that I considered, and I'm curious y'all's thoughts on it. Luis Robert Jr. is now part of the Jacksonville Irish. As y'all well know, he's a Chicago White Sox by trade, and they traded him out there for Julio Venegas. Not a bad deal, the 69th ranked prospect, but they came knocking on our door originally for a pretty fair deal. I just wasn't there with it though. This was early. This was like late November, Thanksgiving time. And I just kind of froze with it, where I was like, that's not bad. And it's a 1-year deal for 20 mil. So again, this is when all the aces were available. What did we need more? A quality outfielder who is coming off a 7-WAR season, so let's not underrate him, or the pitching. I really thought we needed the pitching. I thought it would have been more of a luxury item to get Robert. So even though we were shopping for luxury pitching, we could still use it and kind of needed it. I don't really think we needed an outfielder. So what did they ask for? They wanted Jonathan Rodriguez, a guy who's been in the majors at least for a moment or two. Actually, he might be in the majors right now. Yeah, Jonathan Rodriguez got some burn in 2024, but has spent the next 2 seasons back in the minors. And, he's a 4th outfielder. He's a player. He's all right. Rodriguez, Jeremy Saylor, who we just recently drafted, 2nd round of this past year's draft. Strong catcher, high work ethic, brilliant defense. We'll see if the bat turns into anything. And Alex Mooney. So we're definitely giving stuff here, because you're going to see Alex Mooney's like a really sharp defender. By the way, just another reason to trade Frias, because here's Frias again, and he's a captain, right? So we just had enough of that profile that I just wasn't that worried about it. But anyway, so it was those 3 for Robert, and I was like, that's not a bad offer. It just didn't fit what I wanted to do, though. I like Mooney. I like the 65 range there. Saylor, you know how I feel about my defensive stalwart catchers. So it was a real give to get, but I thought it was fair enough that, okay, thanks for coming correct with the offer, but I will pass. A couple weeks later, they make the move with the Jacksonville Irish, and Lou Bob no longer available to us. So that is what it is, type of vibe, and I'm okay with that. Couple other notes on free agency. Willy Adames signs with the Yankees. I forget for how much. I didn't write the totals here, but I'll just give you the lay of the land a little bit here on some of the big free agents. 5 years, 122 mil. He does have an opt-out after the 2nd year, so not too bad. And there's a team option in the 5th. So, they got some shenanigans here to where they're not on the hook for all 5 years. But again, we didn't need a starter. We didn't need a shortstop. Nathaniel Lowe went to the Detroit Tigers for 4 years, 96.4 mil. Also has an opt-out after 2 years, but then the other 2 are guaranteed after that. And then Tyler O'Neill goes to Philly on a 3-year deal at 6.9 per in all 3 years. Very nice. Edwin Diaz back to New York on a 3-year, $63.6 million deal. Yeah, we weren't doing that. I did flirt with Diaz a little bit, talked to him, tried to offer him a 1-year deal, I think at 22. He was insistent on a multi-year, and I just didn't want to do it. Again, I know I keep repeating this, but the aces were still available, and I was just like, okay. I think a couple had fallen, but there were still a few, and I was like, where's he at right now, Diaz? Maybe he's our consolation prize if all the aces go. Push came to shove, and I just wasn't interested that much. They also signed Jose Alvarado, the Mets did, for a grip. 3 years, $58.2 million, ages 32, 33, 34 at $19.4 million per. Now, Alvarado's a G, and he was just in New York the last couple years with the Yankees, and I was just going to move over to the other New York, but I don't know about all that. And, I gave the Mets a little bit of trouble for some of their signings last year because they didn't quite pan out the way I would want. Actually, no, I peeled back. I said it wasn't so much that they couldn't work out last year. It was because of the long term of them. And now they're adding more. So we'll see how that goes for them. I think that's a little suspect. And then CC Sabathia, Andrew Jones, and Carlos Beltran made the Hall of Fame. A-Rod's very close at 69.8%. International Amateur Free Agency. Very easy here. We only got one guy, but it was one of the top of the heap guys. And his name is David Fajardo. And let me show you what he looks like. David Fajardo's in the complex, 17 years old, bunch of green all the way down. 55 eyes, the only light marker on his profile right now. He's light years from developing, but he is a true up the middle defender as well. So I'm very excited about what he could be in 52 years. So, we'll keep tabs on him. He's a top prospect for us, but we're not going to get too excited just yet. The other guy that we were looking at two guys. And David Popeye Caceres signed with the Mets right away. He signed for the max, which I was like, that's okay. Between the two, here, I'll compare them. You guys can tell me if you like Caceres better. I probably could have gotten him if I'd have pushed, but I went for Fajardo instead because I like the guy up the middle. The bat, that goes to Caceres with the big 10-point power edge, 5-point gap. And then small dips in the I and avoid K, but I still like that power profile. But then defensively, it's no contest. It's Fajardo all day. So I turned my attention to Fajardo there because I actually offered both at a fair price because they both had medium interest, but a great relationship with us. Medium interest from the rest of the league. You can't find the signed guys, right, with their details. Okay. But yeah, so I was like, there's a pipe dream universe where maybe we can sign both. So I offered both more than they both wanted. Just trying to thread that needle. They both came back on the same day saying that, no, we're going to need more money. I stopped trying to thread the needle right then and there. Okay, we have to commit. Who are we going to commit to? Fajardo was the winner, and there we go. So that's international free agency. So there you go. That catches you up on the offseason. It was a big one, and I feel pretty good about it. We do have our first run of the predictions. Let's see what they got us for, because I haven't even looked at these. All right, so, they've anointed a new king. The Boston Red Sox coming in with the 100-win projection, a game over the Orioles. I'll believe it when I see it, y'all. They got us in third in the division at 94 wins, 14 clear of the race. So it's a clear haves and have-nots in the AL Cobb. It's a bit more clustered together in the AL Ryan. We got Hayden Bloggs, Charlie Condon in the top 10 list. Love to see it. No pitchers. Okay, fair enough. Any of the pitchers we tried to sign? Oh, yep, there's Gosman. There's Woodruff. And that's it. But, damn, would have loved one of them. All right, in the National League, they have Cincinnati and Arizona at the top. Brewers, Cubs. Anybody down that's surprising? I mean, the Dodgers and Braves both for 86. A little modest for a couple powerhouse teams in our current world. This Boston club is interesting. Oh, they also have Benny Montgomery. Oh, that's Braden Montgomery. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot about this. I showed this in my Discord last night. They matched real life. The real life draft started last night, and Braden Montgomery went 12th overall to the Red Sox. So they matched real life. I love when that happens. So we'll see how that goes for them. Okay, well, this is going to be fun. We're still chasing Baltimore. I'm not going to disrespect Boston. They look like a good team. I'm nervous about them. They signed a bunch of guys I was interested in. But until proven otherwise, the kings of the world are Baltimore. And we'll see what the second prediction set looks like when all the dust settles after spring. And that'll be at the beginning of the next episode. I'll go through spring training. I'll kind of get us set up, and then we'll get going with opening day and start our sprint through 2027. I'm very eager to see how this season goes. I think we got a great team again. Don't forget, y'all. Let's step back a moment and realize we are on back-to-back LCS losses, which, hey, they're losses, so it's a bummer, but that's two pretty damn good seasons. So I feel good about where we're at right now, and I'm eager to see where we can take this. Can we beat Baltimore? That I do not have the answer to, but I cannot wait to try to find out. And we'll start getting into that next episode. Take care, y'all. Peace.